Shalom, shalom, everyone. So this class is on the Zera Shimshon, Parashat Noach, and the topic of this class is Noah's mistake. And this is going to be a fairly short class. The class is dedicated for the neshama of Rabbi Chaim Kanievski, the Zera Shimshon. And let's get started. So the parsha starts with a verse. Ele toldot Noach ish sadik, tamim haya bedorotav et ha-elokim hitalech Noach. These are the offspring of Noah. Noah was a righteous man, perfect in his generations. Noah walked with God. So the Midrash tells us that Noah spent 120 years working on the ark and building the ark. And during those years, people would ask him, his neighbors would ask him, Noah, what are you doing? Why are you building an ark? And he would reply back to them, God told me that he will be flooding the world. In which case they replied back, if he brings a flood, it will be directed onto your house. Now this conversation is very strange. The people of the land, they knew that they were sinners and Noah was a righteous man. How could they possibly suggest that God would direct the flood at Noah? So the Zera Shimshon, he quotes the Zohar that states that Noah sinned by not praying for the people of his generation and asking God to annul the decree. He was punished by having the flood attributed to him, as it says, in quote, "For this is to me as the waters of Noah." So Noah's neighbors believed that he should have been praying for the world not to be destroyed, and yet not only wasn't he praying for them, he was building an ark to protect himself and his family from the upcoming flood without concern for anyone else or the destruction of the land. So the Zera Shimshon, he brings a similar idea in the Torah that's actually in the Gemara that states that during the time of the Gaon, the high priest, the mother of the high priest used to bring food and drinks to the inadvertent murderers stranded in the city of refuge so that they wouldn't pray for the high priest to die. The Gemara is implying that the reason those people ended up even killing by mistake was because the high priest didn't pray in advance for the murderers of the generation. So this shows us the importance of prayer and why we always need to be praying not only for ourselves but for other people. So to summarize, this was what the people were telling Noah. Essentially, they said, you could have prayed for us, but you chose not to. Why then do you imagine that you will survive the flood when you went into your house and said, all is good in my life, ignoring the spiritual needs, ignoring the needs of your neighbors, ignoring the needs of the land? How can you possibly imagine that you will be saved by God? That was the explanation of their conversation. And until next week, Shabbat Shalom.